So this is Chris Wilson with Sorbella Farm CSA, and in this video I'd like to educate you on E. coli and how do outbreaks happen and how does it get into the food chain, and what are we doing on our end to make sure that everything that comes in your box is contamination free, regardless of whatever it is. But when you talk about E. coli, what is E. coli? E. coli is a bacteria that comes from human being and animal feces. So now you're probably asking yourself, well, how the heck would that E. coli get into the food chain at all? Well, two ways: either poor worker hygiene or contaminated water. They're the two reasons. So the E. coli physically has to touch the fruit for the fruit to be infected with E. coli. It doesn't come up from the ground, it doesn't get sucked up through the roots or anything like that. So when you're talking about produce, there's different types of produce that may be more susceptible to E. coli just because of the practices that a farmer needs to use to grow that particular crop. You take leafy greens, okay, your lettuces and everything like that. The only way they can be fertilized and watered is through water over top that gets on the leaf. And because you eat the entire leaf and the water, if the water's contaminated, then you can get E. coli just like that. So you got to make sure that the contamination, your water's not contaminated. You got to make sure that your workers are doing proper hygiene, that they're washing their hands before they go to the bathroom, washing their hands after they go to the bathroom. On our farm, everybody uses single-use gloves that get thrown out when they're going to the bathroom. They put new ones on when they go back to work. That's just another layer that we do to try to stay safe. When you're talking about contaminated water, you got to make sure that if you're pumping from a stream of water, or you're pumping from a pond, or you're pumping from a well, you got to make sure they're not contaminated. So how do we do all that? We participate in food safety audits. We were one of the first farms in New Jersey, almost, it's been 11 or 12 years now we've been doing it. Food safety audits. We've worked with West Klein and Rutgers to help develop. They have, New Jersey's known in the agricultural world to have, Rutgers University, the best food safety program there as far as educating all the farmers, and they do stuff nationwide. Cornell is another one. They're really big, and we're fortunate to work with them in the very beginning to grow the food safety initiative. And we only do business with farms or partner farms that participate in food safety audits. Now, what's a food safety audit? There's several different agencies that come to your farm and they do audits. We use the USDA, and they come out regularly during our harvesting season, and everything we do on the farm is documented. Everybody's trained and they're retrained all the time on food safety. And so they'll come out and they'll spend an entire day. They look through all the documents, all our records, when we wash stuff, how we wash stuff, what products do we use, when we wash stuff, and they make sure everything is right and falls within the criteria of their audit that they're performing. They actually go to the field for an hour and they watch the workers harvest, make sure they're following things. They go into the packing facility, they do the same thing there. And these audits are unannounced, because I know people probably send me a question, well, do you know, are they scheduled? Do you know if they're coming? No, we don't. They come unannounced. So, that you can't just do some records and then schedule an audit, and then when they leave, you don't do anything, and then say, oh, okay, I'm good, I got my food safety. No, it's got to be ongoing. They can just show up at any time. And if they show up and there's things that are going on in your farm that are not good, that are very bad, they'll shut you down right away. So, you got to make sure that, when you're doing food safety audits, that, you're doing things right. So, when you're talking about worker hygiene, our workers are trained. We have a whole training program. When you're talking about contaminated water, you might be asking yourself, well, what do you do? How do you know if it's contaminated? Well, number one, the only water that touches the plants physically from us is when they're in a greenhouse. So we know all our water is tested regularly, and they go to a third-party lab and they test for E. coli, and we know if there's E. coli in the water or not. And then also on top of that, when you're talking about watering, there's different practices. When we're talking about the leafy greens, well, if we can eliminate having to put water on the fruit, then that eliminates a lot of it, because the water, you could have E. coli, say, in your water, just as an example. You could have E. coli in the water, But if you're using drip irrigation underneath the ground, E. coli does not get transferred from the water in the ground up through the plant and into that fruit. It just doesn't. Research shows that. So because you do that, you can eliminate a lot. But on top of that, what we do on our end is with our food safety audits, we're regularly testing our water so we know what's going on. If the water levels are high, they will shut you down right away till you get that fixed. But also what we do is we inject an organic product into the water that also helps and eliminates E. coli and keeps the lines clean of bacteria and everything like that. Just an added step that we do. So we try to make sure that everything that we can control. The number one thing we always think of is food safety. If we're getting machinery made on the packing facility, okay, how do we need to develop it so we can clean it properly for food safety? Okay, that's number one in anything that we do when we wake up and we go out there, and no matter what task we do on the farm, we've got to make sure that's number one. So I hope that kind of helps you out of what's going on and what we do on our end to help and to make sure that you're getting good, safe vegetables, high quality, and that you can rest assured that you're not going to get sick from anything that comes in your box. So if you have any questions, feel free, shoot us an email, call customer service, go right on Facebook, and we're very transparent. We'll let you know exactly what we do, how we do it, and try to educate you on the food system and the challenges that we have on a daily basis of not only growing this, but making sure it's safe for you and your family. So I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Have a great